Some seeds drop you right into a cozy village, and others throw cliffs, caves, and weird ocean layouts at you from spawn. That's what this one's about. We've got coastal villages on peninsulas, island towns stretched across docks, and even a few spots that practically beg for a cliff base or a shipyard. And later on, the seeds get a lot stranger, with bigger terrain drops and more unexpected structures. I'm following the river down from these rugged cliff edges, and the first thing that hits is that cherry grove glow spilling over the hillside. Pink blossoms frame the valley, then the water bends past grassy slopes toward a little village tucked below. Up above, there's a lonely cabin near a cave entrance, which instantly makes me think survival base on top, mining run underneath. You could link the village, the valley, and the cliffs with bridges, and every turn here feels like it leads to another story. I'd start with a cliffside castle right above that village, because the way the paths climb the stone-streaked mountain already feels like a natural main street. You've got farms tucked into the slope, a few small buildings packed close together, and lava spilling down the cliffs in the distance, which gives every bridge idea a little danger. Then the coastline opens up beside the water, so you could link the village to a harbor, a cave base, or a mountain road, and the whole survival run starts to feel connected. That coastal village immediately grabs you because it spills right down toward the ocean like an island settlement. I love the mix of wooden and stone houses, the church rising above the rooftops, and those docks stretching into the water. With cliffs and soft slopes wrapping the whole place, you could turn this into a cliffside starter base, expand the bridges, or link the shoreline to the forest behind it. Even the cattle in the plains add life, and honestly, the next one goes even harder. Right away, those village roofs peek through the cherry grove, and it looks like the paths already want to snake between the pink trees. I love how the river carves straight through the valley, with cliffs on one side and soft green slopes on the other, so you could drop in a bridge and connect every little outpost. Just imagine a cliffside starter base above the water, then a trail running down to the village farms and into the blossom-lined hills for a survival run that keeps changing every turn. I love how this village sits right in the middle of the action, with neat path lines, wooden houses, and a river curling around the plains like a natural moat. Just beyond it, you've got dense forest and bamboo thickets that make the edge of town feel wild, and that's where I'd start carving out a starter base. You could throw bridges across the water, fortify the village, and turn those scattered fields into a full survival hub. Every direction feels like a new project waiting to happen. I love how this seed throws you straight from a peaceful village on the water into a landscape that keeps getting wilder the farther you look. Wooden docks and little paths stretch across the lake, then the rolls into plains, gentle hills, and a dense forest edge that gives you tons of wood right away. That ruined portal on the rise hints at a faster nether start, while the open water begs for a bridge, a fishing hut, or a starter base tying the whole shoreline together, and the next one goes even harder. Ever seen a village just floating out on the ocean like this? The wooden pathways weave between the houses, and I love how the water wraps around every corner, making the whole place feel like a survival challenge from the first minute. Then you've got those giant red and brown mushrooms rising out of the mycelium, with little patches of flowers and grass breaking up the edge. Just imagine extending those walkways into a bridge network, or turning the village into a sea base with a mushroom outpost nearby. I love how the river cuts straight through that wide valley, with cherry blossoms softening the edges while steep cliffs rise on both sides. Down below, small villages sit beside farm plots and winding paths, so you could link them with bridges and turn the whole place into a connected survival hub. Then you've got stone outcroppings and cave entrances for early mining, plus snowy peaks in the distance that make every climb feel like an adventure. A sprawling village sits right on that aquamarine coastline, with wooden docks stretching into the water and thatched huts packed onto the island. I love how the forest rises behind it, while the hills roll down toward the shore, because you can turn this into a real survival hub fast. Just imagine linking the platforms with bridges, adding a harbor, and pushing out into the surrounding S for wood, food, and early game exploration. It already feels like a living coastal settlement waiting to grow. I'd spawn in and head straight for the wooden piers, because this island village is already set up like a tiny harbor in the middle of the ocean. The houses and farms sit on a flat little landmass with gentle slopes to the shore, and that deep blue water wraps around everything. I love how the seaweed forests below make it feel alive, while those sandbars out past the village hint at another waiting to be crossed. You could turn this into a dock town, link it with bridges, and start a full survival run here. A village stretches through the hills beside a shimmering lake, and those cherry blossom trees frame every path with pink petals. I love how the houses follow the instead of fighting it, with a wooden gazebo tucked into the grove like a little landmark. Down below, the valley opens around a winding river, so you could link the village with bridges, a canal, or a starter base on the water. Then that cave mouth at the edge pulls you underground, and the whole place feels like survival with a plan. Follow the river past the wooden docks, and you immediately hit that huge riverside village wrapped around the water's edge. I love how the paths climb into those soft hills, with timber and stone houses stepping upward toward that temple-like hall on the rise. The oak and birch trees break up the plains, and those snow-capped mountains behind everything give the whole route a real adventure feel. You could link the cottages with bridges, then turn the hilltop into a fortress, and the next one goes even harder. I'd start with a harbor build right here, because this village is literally stretched across the ocean on wooden stilts, with paths linking each little hut above the water. I love how the green shoreline cuts against the deep blue sea, and you can even see seagrass under the surface, while the platforms break the village into natural sections. Just imagine turning those walkways into bridges, docks, and a trading hub, then expanding each platform into a bigger seaside base that feels alive over the waves. A tiny village sits on this green island, like a safe pocket in the middle of open ocean, and that contrast hits immediately. You've got farms, dirt paths, and wooden docks reaching over the water, while the shoreline drops into seaweed-filled depths and little sandy edges. I love how the gentle slopes lead up to a small cliff viewpoint, because just imagine turning this into an ocean hub with bridges, a harbor, or a fortified starter base. Ever seen a village sitting right out over the ocean like this? I love how the wooden platforms stretch between the waterside huts, with every house perched on foundations above the waves, and then that mushroom-covered island adds this weird, awesome contrast just offshore. You could turn the paths into bridges, expand the docks, or even build a starter base that links the village to the mushroom field. With snowy peaks fading in the distance, this feels like a survival run that keeps pulling you outward. I love how this coastal village spills right into the ocean, with wooden docks stretching out over the water and a central well tucked between stone and timber houses. The grassy plains behind it make an easy start for farms and a starter base, while the reeds and shoreline give the whole place a lived-in feel. Just imagine turning those docks into a harbor, then sailing out from the village for a long-term survival run, with mountains watching over the coast. With wooden paths stretching between sandy platforms and open water. I love how it already feels like a tiny port city, especially with the gentle coastline leading back into a lush plain and scattered trees. Then that massive cavern cuts into the land like a broken jaw, and just imagine dropping a hidden base into those shadowy depths. You could connect the docks, the village, and the cave with bridges, and turn the shoreline into a survival story with real movement. First thing I'd do here is sprint across the village paths and look up, because those houses sitting on stilts over the water are such a wild start. I love how the bay wraps around the shore, with cliff faces and rocky overhangs giving the whole place a harbor feel. You could link every home with bridges, turn the shoreline into a starter base, or dig straight into those stone walls for a cave entrance. And honestly, the next one goes even harder. A cherry grove crowns that massive cliff, and the view drops straight down to a small village tucked into the plains below. I love how the warm wooden rooftops sit against the rocky slope, with village paths leading out into green fields and scattered cherry trees. You could carve a cliffside starter base up top, then link it to the village with bridges, stairs, or a winding path. Between the heights, the farmland, and that dramatic drop, every trip feels like part of the build. Following this river straight into the coast, you hit a village tucked between grassy slopes and bright blue water, and I love how the wooden houses sit right beside the wheat fields. The shoreline breaks into little peninsulas, so you could link the paths with bridges, add docks, or turn the edge into a starter base that leans over the sea. With plains on one side and a hint of desert nearby, there's a really nice mix of materials here. What would you build first, and could you survive this kind of shoreline start? A village on stilts over the ocean is already wild. But the real contrast here is that grassy peninsula dropping straight into rocky coastline and open water. I love how the houses sit above the waves while the nearby plateau gives you trees, flowers, and space to branch out. Just imagine linking the village with docks, then pushing a bridge out toward a cliff base or a seaside starter home. It feels peaceful from above, then completely untamed the moment you head for the shore. What if your first spawn looked like a village stretched across an archipelago, with wooden houses sitting right over clear water? I love how the walkways thread between the buildings and out toward the sandy shore, making every step feel like you're crossing a tiny coastal network. You could turn those paths into bridges, add a dock, or extend the village with a starter base on the plain's edge. And with the ocean wrapping around it, survival here starts with danger and ends with a whole maritime build idea. A village sprawls across the peninsula here, with houses and farm rows wrapped by open water on both sides, and that coastline is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. I love how the land drops into gentle slopes and little valleys, so you could run a path from the farms down to a dock, then throw in a bridge to link the far side. The grasslands fade into sandy beach, acacia trees sit on the horizon, and this would turn into a survival hub fast. That cherry blossom valley hits immediately, with pink trees wrapping around a crater-like basin and a quiet lake right in the middle. I love how the little village houses tuck into the slopes, while the tiered plateaus give you natural spots for paths, farms, or a starter base that climbs the hillside. Then there's that stone portal-like structure in the cliff alcove, which makes me want to go digging around the rock face and connect everything with bridges. I'd start by running straight through the villager paths and over to those wooden piers, because this coastal village opens right onto the ocean in the coolest way. The grassy plateau behind it is dotted with flowers and shrubs, then it drops into sandy beaches and clear blue water. I love how the little huts and lookout towers already give it a harbor feel, and you could add bridges, a cliffside starter base, or even a docked storage area. It already feels like the beginning of a real survival run. Thanks for watching. Which seed would you actually play? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more awesome Minecraft seeds, and check out the next video on screen. Happy crafting!